Hello, everyone. How are you? This is Whole and Beautiful. I am Angela Oliphant, your host, and I am so glad you all have joined me for a night of information, revelation, and change. Tonight is going to be another great night. And as you can see, I have my guest with me tonight, Ruth Griffin, and she's going to share some information with us on tonight that's going to bring about a revelation in our lives and cause us to change. How are you doing, Ruth?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing well. I am going to read a little bit about Ruth, but what I wanted to share with you also is that tonight, good evening, Victoria. How are you? Um, Good evening, Linda. I see you out there too. And I wanted to just share with you all that like we come on at 7 p.m. on Friday nights, and I do have a couples conversation show that I will be doing with different couples. So if you're interested, send me a email at wholebeautiful@gmail.com where I will be talking with couples also. And if you are interested in being interviewed, just let me know. Send me an email, wholebeautiful@gmail.com, and I will be happy to get in contact with you and get you on the show so you can share some information also. But tonight's guest, I've been waiting on this interview. I've been excited about this interview, and I am so glad that she's here. Ruth Griffin is a great person. I love her. I love her. She did my book. She is my publisher. She edited my books also, and every book that I've done, my two books that I've done, they have come out and they've been phenomenal. I love it because they take care of you and they look at you and you see you. Well, with me, I see me in my book, and I love that about her. But I'm going to read a little bit of her bio, and then we're going to talk to Ruth Griffin tonight. Hi, Francina. How are you? Thank you for joining. Um, Ruth Griffin began telling stories at a young age, first with pictures, then with words. Even though she always considered herself an artist, Ruth has been writing since grade school. She has penned her first book as a teenager and has continued writing since then. Ruth is now the award winning author of several books which center on women's experiences. Her latest book, When Love is Angry, is a biographical biographical account written with her husband Maurice about their journey following her bipolar 2 diagnosis. She is the founder of Studio Griffin LLC, a full service vanity press that offers publishing, graphic design, and writing services. And she is the co host of Authors Up, a streaming radio show that provides a platform for new, established, and aspiring authors. I want you to applaud and send up those hearts for Miss Ruth E. Griffin for joining me tonight. Yay! Ruth, we thank you for being here tonight. I really appreciate you being here.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about Ruth's book, When Love is Angry. And I love the title because the title even draws you in. Can you tell us, Ruth, first tell us a little bit more about yourself and then tell us how the title came about, When Love is Angry?
Okay. Well, I mean, I think you've said a lot of it. I was an artist first. I've always been drawing. When I learned how to put sentences together and write, that's when I started writing. I mean, I remember keeping a little section in my little Trapper Keeper back when I was in school where I would just write stories while the teacher was talking. But you know, and I just haven't stopped since then. So it's just it's been a journey. I've gotten from writing books, which I still do, to publishing them now, and it's just I love the field, love the process, and it's just it brings me joy to share stories and to share other people's stories, to give them that opportunity to do that. But it's kind of funny that you say that you love the title because and you're not the first person to say that. I actually was not a fan of it. Um, and here's the thing, because my husband actually, he was the one who started the project. We were going through a rough spot in our marriage, and God was working on both of us at the same time. And then he's, while he was telling me, write everything down, he was telling my husband, okay, start writing.
Right.
And, he put in his chapters, and then he said, okay, the title is When Love is Angry. And I'm like, I didn't say anything because I was like, I don't want to discourage him. But I'm like, I don't like that title. But you know what? I saw the merit in it because I was like, you know what? For a lot of years, we were angry. And it's just, we
Yes.
were still very much in love, but it was just we were angry. And you know what? If that's the title of the book, then that's the title of the book. So, yeah.
I love the title because I thought about it.
Thank
I
you.
was like, you got love and you got anger. And a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
don't even like acknowledge the fact that, yes, I love you, but I am angry.
Yeah.
And they never address that issue. They just kind of like motor along and kind of go through the motions of things. But it's like almost, I don't know, to me, it was like an acknowledgement of, yes, I love you, but yes, I'm still angry, but that doesn't change my love for you. So,
Absolutely, absolutely, and I think that was the one thing that we keep hearing. It's just it's kind of an oxymoron of sorts.
yes,
It's just opposites, and I think we live in a culture where it's happily ever after. We're looking for that
right.
happy ending, but there's the world is not black or white. There's a whole lot of gray in between, and you gotta that's where the love and the anger get muddled up together.
Yes, it does. And
Yeah,
it's good to see. I love when I was reading the book, I didn't want to put it down. I was
thank you.
reading and I was reading even at work. I was sitting and I was like, I'm taking breaks and trying to I was like, I gotta find out what happened next. And
Thank you.
as I was reading, I was one thing that I really liked, like in the beginning when your husband when he was talking about, and that was before you even start the book, where he was saying a gift is a gift,
Hmm.
whether it's acknowledged as being that gift or not.
Yeah.
I just sat back on that. I was like, wow. And it really was like illuminated for me
Right.
because I look at how we think that we're not a gift, or we think that that thing is not a gift when it is. That person is a gift to you, whether you realize it or not, and whether
Yeah.
you acknowledge it or not.
Yeah.
So
And oftentimes, we have to deal with someone when they're in, their immature state or they're not fully developed, and it's just, for the longest time with my husband, he was not a talker. And it was just like, okay, Lord, I deserve, I'm sitting here telling God what I deserve. Um, I want a happy ending, and the thing was, my husband was a gift, in the same way that he had to look at me as a gift, but we both had to develop into that, what we
right,
see, what God created us to be. And it's just we have to develop, but that doesn't mean it wasn't a gift when it was given.
right.
It just, we had to grow into that. So,
Yes, yes. And a lot of people I see, like when they first get married, they they want what maybe somebody's been married 30, 40 years. They
hmm,
want that in the beginning.
yeah,
And I'm like, it's a growth process.
right.
And to see that growth process in the book is awesome because I can see it as I'm reading and how things are changing and how you think different. Y'all need to get the book, get the book, get the book. You need to go and purchase the book, and because it's an awesome book. And
Thank
I read through it and I was going back and I was highlighting stuff in the book because I was like, oh yeah, I like this and I like this over here,
you. Hmm.
and I don't want to give too much of the book because I want y'all to go get the book. I want you to go purchase the book. Um, when I was putting together tonight's show, I put a title out there that says marriage, mental illness, and then moving forward,
Hmm.
because that's like what I saw in your book.
Yeah.
You all were married, you went through the mental illness, and then you're moving forward with things. Can you talk a little bit about each one of those things? Just however you want to. Just talk a little bit about your marriage in the beginning, and then how you came about with your diagnosis.
No, absolutely. So we kind of did things a little bit backwards. We had our son first, got married, daughter next, and it was just, we were really young. I mean, we were really out of college, and we were young, immature, and we really, both of us came from homes where, our parents were divorced, so we had no idea what marriage really needed to look like.
Wow.
Um, we tried. We said that, divorce was not an option, so that was never on the table. But it was just like, okay, well, how do we do this? And we kind of muddled along, and it was probably in the first 5, 10 years of our marriage, maybe less, in the first 5 years of our marriage that I received my diagnosis. So here we were juggling three small children,
Right.
um, different states, jobs, and all of that, and the diagnosis on top of that just kind of threw everything. It made a
Like,
mess. Let's put it that way.
yeah.
So, um, and because we weren't already handling ourselves, we weren't handling our marriage. It just kind of imploded from there. So, um, rather than seek God, we tried to work it out on our own. Um,
Okay.
and that didn't work out as well as we wanted to. So that's what the book is about, and we had to find our place in God. We had to find who we were before we could find our healing and our wholeness and be able to move forward. Honestly, it wasn't just okay, this was over a few years. This was, it's been 18 years since my diagnosis. So it's been quite a few years, that we've been working through this and have been able to say, okay, we've come to a point where we are, where I am healing from my mental illness, where God is healing our marriage, and where God is healing us together, and we're moving forward from there because as my husband wrote in the book, we have a calling. I truly believe when you experience something in your life that God is saying, hey, I want you to help other people who are going through the same thing. And I think I truly believe that that's where that's why God, he doesn't just want to heal you from whatever your ailment is. Oftentimes we go to God and we say, okay, well, I'm suffering from this. God, please heal me. And God says, okay, well, I can do that, but I can also do this, this, and this, and I'll cover this if you'll let me do it. And for the longest time, I was like, nah, I don't believe that God could do it. But when I started to believe that, I started to see God healing one thing and then the next, and then making us whole in the process so that we can move forward into what He has for us.
Yes, and I saw that, like, even in your book where you were saying that you ended up speaking to someone, because I know I've seen your testimony at your church,
Yeah.
and I had watched it and I saw it and I was like, this is just so awesome, because sometimes we're in a situation or a circumstance and we think that we are somehow like failing God,
Mm-hmm.
or because we feel like this should not be happening and this should not be going on and I should be able to just believe and come out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, sometimes it's like I don't know, it's like to me it's like a two-edged sword sometimes. You just like it's like if I go this way it's wrong, if I do that that's wrong, and I'm trying to like settle on what I'm supposed to do, and it sometimes it can be overwhelming. And I saw where you shared your testimony and how you were able to minister to someone else concerning getting diagnosed and different things. Can you share a little bit about that and how you are managing that now, and how other people are taking like your testimony as you're ministering at church? Because sometimes people say church and mental illness doesn't like mix, and not a lot of people talk about it at church. They will tell us, they tell us to pray, which we pray, and it's good for us to pray. It's good for us to have that relationship with God, but then also we have to do some other things and continue to move towards our healing. Can you just talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely, and I think that is the that's the thing for me because I grew up in a Pentecostal church. We weren't supposed to talk about that. If you had mental illness, then You were doing something wrong. So,
Right.
and it's just, and on top of that, who ever heard of God healing anybody from mental illness? You didn't talk about it, so therefore God didn't do it. And that was my mentality for the longest time. You hear about God healing cancer, you hear about God healing all these other diseases, but you don't hear about mental illness because it's not viewed as an actual disease. And that's the part that I want people to understand. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it's not real. And in the same way that being a diabetic is different than being, if you have cancer, is this has different symptoms. This, you act out different ways, and it's just, you have to understand. One thing that I have found out for myself in this process is that you have to understand your body. You can't be so concerned about other people that you're like, well, they're doing this, and this worked for them. No, what's going to work for you? I had to make decisions about my diet, about how often I exercise, what I exercise, even changing my mindset. That was the most, first and foremost. I had to believe that God could heal me. And once I started on that path, and he would say, and it wasn't, and I want people to understand, it's not that, your help, it's not that God needs your help. He will heal you, period. But you got to put in the work as well. For many years, I was not cooperating with my doctor. I wasn't cooperating with God. And God just kept telling me, write everything down, write everything down. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I was lazy. I was like, just heal me. I didn't understand. And I finally had a break, and I was like, okay, God, I'll write everything down. And all he wanted me to do was just chart my moods. That's it. You go to any psychologist or therapist, they'll tell you, get a mood chart. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll finally do it. And once I started doing that, I started seeing patterns. I started understanding how my body works. And in that process, I started understanding what my body was responding to, what it wasn't responding to. And I was able to make changes according to that. I will tell people that, the principle is the same, but the process is different for anybody. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you, if you do what I did, you'll get the same results. No, but if you follow the same principle, if you go to God, he'll tell you what to do, And I think, for the most part, everybody should eat well and exercise and get enough sleep and understand your body. So I think those fall under principles as well. But, the fact that I'm a vegetarian, the fact that I'm gluten free, the fact that I run every day, those are customized to me because that's what God has been working with me on for my mental health. I've been able to eliminate a lot of my triggers. I've been able to eliminate just those things, a lot of my responses, so that the bipolar does not affect me the way it used to. And it's that is, because people can see it. I didn't understand that people before, because I would try to hide when I was going into an episode, when I was having mood swings, but people could see that. I was in denial myself, and people would tell me, oh yeah, I knew that because you started pulling away, you started doing this. But now people are able to say, okay, well, I see a difference in you. You are filled with joy. You are filled with happiness. There's something about you, and that's God. I will give him the credit for all of this. I just did the work. If you stop long enough and say, okay, God, what do I need to do? He'll tell you. And it's nothing spooky about it. It's just stuff we normally don't want to do. I mean, nobody wants to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and exercise. And that piece of cake sure looks good, but sometimes you got to be able to say, no, I'm going to have a piece of fruit instead. So, but I think it's been well received from a lot of people. And I hope, I've shared my story, and my hope is that it can give people hope, because I didn't have hope for the longest time. I thought I was stuck like this and I was going to die like this. And that's just not the case. God wants us to be whole. He wants us to be how he created us to be, and not die miserably. So
That is awesome. I love it because he wants us to be whole, and it flows right in because you're being whole on your journey. You're beautiful inside and out. and it radiates from you. I was like, from the time I met you when I
Mm-hmm.
first did my book till now, I was like, this is a totally different person. And I was like, she's
Yeah.
just glowing. And the things that you were just saying about what God, He'll tell you what to do and He'll show you the plan. And I'm sitting here like, okay, I'm just going to do it. Because it's different things like with my eating and different things
Mm-hmm.
with my exercise that God has spoken to me to do. And
Mm-hmm.
you're right. It's like we're lazy. We don't want to do it. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I just want it to happen this way
Yeah.
and not
Yeah.
go through that process. But I'm sitting here like, okay, yes, God, I hear you. It's like, Ruth is saying something. Yes, I hear you.
Yeah.
Because different things you never know what it's going to bring about when you commit to what's being told to you to do. When you
Yeah.
just say, okay, I'm just going to be obedient to it and I'm going to do it,
Yeah.
and it brings about something totally, like you were saying, all these other things get healed all because I did that one thing.
Yeah, no, and that is the funny thing because I'm wearing lipstick tonight, and I point this out because years ago I had to stop wearing lipstick. I developed a some kind of allergy to it, and I don't know what caused it. But when I started, and I have to say I've lost 81 pounds. I am bragging about that. So yes, but it's just like you put all that weight on, you can barely move, you can barely do anything. And it's not like I'm saying go to the gym. Get out and start walking. That's all you got to do. Eventually you're going to add a little bit more and a little bit more, but that's what I started doing. And when God started saying, "Okay, change your diet to this, do this," I can wear lipstick again. I didn't even know that was healable, but by changing the way I ate, God is saying, "Okay, this is not the life I designed you to live." You know, if I want to wear lipstick now, I can because God healed me because I did something else and that happened. So it's just amazing, because and like you said, you don't know what's gonna happen, but if you trust God, your outcomes are going to be better than you could have ever imagined.
I'm loving this. I'm like, yes. I was like, just got to because I've been hearing some things even for myself personally. I've been hearing some things that I need to do, and I was like, how am I going to do that? I don't want to do, and but I'm hearing. I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to follow through with the things because I've been seeing it for a while.
Yeah.
I've been speaking it, but I have not just walked in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, just go and do it. It's
Mm-hmm.
just that simple. And if you go and you begin to do it, then you're going to begin to see the results of way more than what you even thought or imagined that could be, all because you were obedient. I
Yeah.
love that. I
Yeah,
love
and
it.
it's just, and again, it's not, you don't expect to accomplish it on the first day. It is step by
Right.
step, and God has so much grace. I don't remember the Bible verse, but it says, Psalms, that God remembers that we are like a wind that passes and does not return. If He knows that we're frail, why are we so hard on ourselves and we think that we need to be perfect? If
Yes.
I fall and if I mess up, God says, get up. Just start again tomorrow, But we're the type of people, if I mess up the diet today, oh my God, I'm done for the rest of the week. Nah, he says, get up tomorrow, start again. So God has
We
that much
start
grace for
over.
us. Yep.
Yes. Is there anything about your journey that you would change or that you would advise somebody else like not to do if they're walking a similar journey to yours? Is there anything that you would change, or would you just say, they walk it out like you were saying the way that they need to? Or would you have any advice for someone who's walking through that similar journey?
Well, I will tell you this. For the longest time, I told God, I don't like this. I don't want to do this. I don't like the way my life turned out. And through this whole process, I've been able to say, I don't regret any of this. Now, would I knowingly choose to do this again? Absolutely not. But now that I've been through it, I can say, you know what? I'm a much better person now. Even if God had chose to heal me 18 years ago, when I said, God, please heal me, I would not be the person I am today. I don't think that I would radiate the hope. I don't think that I would radiate um, what he's put in me. He's invested 18 years of it, of God in me, and I think that that is starting to show. That said, and I said earlier that I don't tell people, do what I do, but I will say this, obviously, if you are dealing with a mental illness, get diagnosed, because you can't fix what you don't know is wrong. So get diagnosed, absolutely, and start seeing a therapist, start seeing a doctor. Those medications are there to help. They are not the end all, they are not the be all, they're not meant for you to take for the rest of your life. God has a better way out. 1 Corinthians, I think it's 13, 14 through 10. I'll have to look that up. But he says that he has, for those who are afflicted, for those who are tempted, he has a way out. And he has a way out for all of us. If we're just willing to go to him, he has a way out for us. So, medicine may be part of that for a while. It was for me for a long time, and it was a long time. And that was very discouraging, honestly, because I had to go through, I think, like 3 doctors and 7 medications before they found something that would work for me. So, you just have to stick with it till you can get to the place where you can start hearing God for yourself. That was my hardest thing, because I let the disease speak louder than God. So I would just say, get the help you need and continue seeking God, and don't give up hope, because God has a process for you, and it's a marvelous end to it. You just got to stick with it until you see that.
Yes, it's like stay till the end. Ruth,
Mm-hmm.
what during your process did you have any what I call Selah moments where you had to sit back and think about it, or sit back in that moment thinking back on different areas? Did you have any moments where you were like where you think about it now, where you have to sit back and just think about it, like embrace that moment and learn from it, and the wisdom that you gained from that moment or that time when you were going through all the other things that were happening at that time?
Hmm. I have to think about that one. I mean, I've had
Okay.
several moments where I know that, and a lot of this, I put on myself because I didn't seek God, or I didn't listen to God. And one thing I do talk about in the book was when and again, I think this is the bipolar, because I think it's a lot bigger in my mind than it actually was. But you go up for an altar call, and I was in the middle of an episode that one day, and it was just like I could not see clearly, but I know that God was with me simply because of who was with me that whole time. And I say the whole time because I was one of the first people up front, and then Bishop ended the church service and I was still up there. So to me it was like, okay, all eyes are on me. But the person who stayed with me, to me, she was the most tangible representation of God in that moment. And it was just that moment, and I've had to stop and think about it over the years, because it was just like, it was that moment that changed my path. Because I had been telling God, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. But you say, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start a diet tomorrow. I'm going to go running tomorrow. I'm going to go to the gym. But you never actually do it. And it was in that moment that I was like, okay, I'm going to go home and I'm going to start doing what God told me to do. And I did. And it wasn't easy, and it wasn't like I saw results in the first few days. I actually didn't start seeing results for another 3 or 4 months. But because I stuck with it, because of that moment, I am here today. Let's put it that way.
Wow. That's just awesome. It's because those people, they never know. Even
Mm-mm.
the people that come and they sit with us, or they pray with us, or and they're there with you. they
Yeah.
never, sometimes they don't realize how much that means in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it does. It's like you said, it took you to where you needed to be because that's what you needed
Right.
at that moment. And God knew
Mm-hmm.
who to put right there beside you
Yeah.
so that you can have that tangible experience with him through that person. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the kind of God we serve. He is
Yes.
just awesome that way.
He
The
is.
way he
He's.
orchestrates everything and put everything together. I'm like, wow, it's amazing how he puts the people right
Mm-hmm.
there when we need
Oh yeah.
them. Every situation, I see it like in like an orchestra and all these different instruments, but when they come together and they begin to play, it sounds so great.
Yeah.
And that's how God does our lives. He
Yeah.
knows when to put that person there, that person over there. And when we sit back and look at it, we were like, wow, look at how he moved and how he worked
Mm-hmm.
through every
Yeah.
situation and through every circumstance. I find it amazing also that I was listening. Y'all have to get the book though, because it's like her husband is saying his part, and then she comes in and she talks about her part and what she was going through at the same time. And a lot of times we don't get to see both sides.
Right.
You hear one side from one person about, and then sometimes it's not even really like fully being honest because they really don't want to hurt the other person. So
Mm-hmm.
they'll only say certain things and they'll leave other stuff out because like I don't want to really hurt them and let them know how I really felt. But in this, I saw how God was dealing with both of you
Yeah.
separately before he brought everything full circle and brought it together. And I was like, to go back and to look at that, I loved it because it's like sort of like a call and response. He was going through this, you were going through that, and it seemed like it wasn't going to come back together, and it
Right.
did. It
Right.
was almost like two separate paths on two separate ways, and in the end they were back together again. I said, oh, I love this. I love it how God put that together. um
Yes.
how has your husband been going out with you to talk about the book, or have do you all have anything coming up where y'all going to be together maybe discussing the book?
We are actually both promoting the book. We've had a few interviews together to promote it together, but we both, obviously because we both have two different perspectives, two different standpoints. We can speak to it differently, which is really interesting. But it's just it's it's like you said, it's God. And that's the thing, if you can trust God for your healing and your wholeness, you come out of it with a testimony and a ministry. And that's even something I don't think we even considered, because it's like you said, and I think about this because I knew, my first book was autobiographical. And I thought, okay, God, I know that I'm going to be writing a sequel to it. I know that I'm going to be speaking, and doing all this, but I would have never thought to write the book the way it's written, to be honest. So God is not just God, He's also an editor and a publisher as well. And it's just, to me, it's amazing because of the response we've gotten from it. My husband's coworkers, his boss, it's just like, hey, I heard you wrote a book. And it's just like, okay, we didn't expect that. We're getting, reviews and just conversations from people who are like, well, I'm going through something like that, or I needed to hear that. And it's just like, okay, we weren't expecting that. So it's just, we're working on getting the word out, because I think like you said, this is not something you see often. It's one side of the story, but in a marriage, it is, you got two people who come together as one, and that to me was the God part of it, because no one else, because we were on our way to separate paths. Only God could have brought us back together the way He did. And for us to be able to walk it out the way we're doing it now, that's God, and I marvel at it, and I love to share it. And I hope that people are encouraged, in that respect. Not everyone deals with mental illness, Not everyone is married, but I hope that there is something in that book that speaks to you, to your relationship with God, to your relationship with people, just wherever you're at. That's our hope for it.
And that I think that it will, because right now I'm not married, but and I never thought things would go the way that they're going.
Mm-hmm.
But even reading the book, God began to speak to me about just different things with me, and I was like, wow, this is just good. I mean, it has really
Mm-hmm.
ministered to me,
Thank
and
you.
it has
Mm-hmm.
helped me with some things, even myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I am a testimony that it does help. If you, even if you're not married, even if you went through a divorce that you didn't
Mm-hmm.
plan, it's helpful, and it's helping me. And I'm going to go back and reread some things, because I was, like I said, I was highlighting, and I'm a highlighter, and I write things down. I write little notes on the side, because I
Yep.
don't want to forget that moment when I read that portion, because it really ministered to me.
Mm-hmm.
And Ruth, can you tell everyone how to get the book and how they can get in contact with you if they want you to do an interview or to
Oh,
speak at an event even?
absolutely. So you can get the book at Amazon, Barnes and Noble, anywhere you get your books online. Easiest way to find me online or to find the book, if you go to my website, ruthegriffin.com. There's a way to contact me there. You can leave me a message, or you can. There are links to where you can purchase the book there as well, also to where you can find me on Facebook and Instagram.
I still love this. I was like, I'm gonna have you come back and talk about some different things, because I know
Mm-hmm.
so many different people who are dealing with anxiety, and
Yeah.
they deal with depression. And I think if they if you're just tuning in, I want you to go back and re-listen, or listen tomorrow at 4, because a lot is being said that can help you if you're
Mm-hmm.
in those bouts with depression, or bouts with
Mm-hmm.
anxiety, or just having like just issues like relationship issues. You even reading that book, it helps to um to go through it and to read it, and not just read it just to read it as a story, but to read it and allow it to minister to you. That's
Mm-hmm.
what happened with me. It really ministered to me, and I am so glad I got the book. And y'all need to go get the book. Y'all need to go to Amazon. You need to contact Ruth. And
Yes.
if you didn't get her information, contact me at wholebeautiful@gmail.com, and I will make sure you get in contact with her so that you can get the book. She has other books that are out there also that are awesome books. And I've read
Thank you.
some of those too. And I love every book that she's written that I've read. It's been good. It's been like a page turner. I have to sit right there with it, and I don't want to put the book down. I'm just that type of person, but I like to hold the book in my hand. But I
Mm-hmm.
love
Mm-hmm.
reading the stories that she writes, because I'm waiting like what's gonna happen next. Sometimes, because I think, because of the way that I think and I write to, I figure out what's gonna happen next in a lot of the different books that I've written. But with Ruth books, I can't figure it out. It's like I gotta read this because I gotta find out what happened. It's like it's twists and turns, and it's just awesome. But
Thank
Ruth,
you.
I want to thank you so much for joining me tonight. And what one thing I wanted to share with you was I looked up your name, what Ruth means, and Ruth
Mm-hmm.
means friend, and it means God's grace. And I was like, oh, and you were just shining forth with all of that, with all that grace. And it's like you could be everybody's friend. It's like people be, oh, Ruth, my friend,
Well,
because
thank
it's just
you.
your demeanor and the way that
Thank
you
you.
carry yourself, and it's awesome. And I am so glad that you have joined me tonight and been a part of my
Thank
show.
you.
I
Thank you.
know
I'm
that it's
glad
going
to
to
have been here.
minister to a lot of people. It's going to
Thank
minister
you.
to a lot of people. And if y'all need Ruth to come and minister and come in and speak to a
Mm-hmm.
group that you may have there that may be going through some things too, she will be happy to do that too. Y'all
Mm-hmm.
contact her. Make sure you
Absolutely.
get in contact with her. Ruth, do you have any like words that you would like to share? Maybe a quote that you would like to share, or maybe just some words of encouragement for somebody who's listening that may be going through some a mental illness, or maybe even going through anxiety or depression or something. Is there anything you would like to share with them?
I just want to say, don't give up hope. Um, I lived without hope for a lot of years, and that is the hardest place to be. And you can believe God has a better way out. He has a way out. He has a better way than anything we could. And all of this is just temporary. Any mood, in any relationship trouble, anything, it's all temporary. But God is permanent, and He is awesome. And if you can just hang on to that little shred of hope, he will grow it until it just consumes you. So don't give up hope. God is great, and He loves you, and He's there for you.
Thank you so much, Ruth. Thank you. I
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate you being here on tonight. And guys, I thank you for tuning in tonight. I thank you for listening. Listen again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Make sure that you share this broadcast with someone else because someone else needs it. Make sure that you go and purchase the book. If you don't purchase it for yourself, purchase it for
Mm-hmm.
somebody else and allow them to see, to hear, and to know that whole and beautiful is not just their destination,
Right.
it is most definitely their journey. And
Yes.
we want to see you back again here next Friday night at 7 p.m. Or you can hear the replay tomorrow at 4. But remember, get the book. Y'all get the book, okay? Get the book and enjoy your weekend. Ruth, again, thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here tonight. And I look forward to talking to you again.
Of course. Thank you.
Good night, everyone. Enjoy
Good
your
night.
weekend. Love you. We'll see y'all soon.